Okay, we're going to call this June meeting of the Taft LSC to order at 6:30. Is there a flag in here? Lots of flags. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If the LSC can stay on mute while we're doing the meeting, then if you unmute yourself when you're ready to speak. Okay, Ms. Keeling, can you do roll call?
Absolutely. Anita Bernacki.
Here.
Mary Kay Cobb.
Here.
Julieta Pasco. Okay. Chrissy Estrada.
She's there. Here.
Kathy Fern.
Here.
Monica Moore.
I see her online, but I don't hear her.
I see her online. Does that count?
Yeah.
Okay. Chris Raguso.
Here.
Laura
Monica, can you
Keeling.
type in the chat
Here.
if you're there?
There's Monica. Thank you, Monica. Maria McDormand.
Here.
Bridget Doherty Trebbing.
Here.
Scott Plensner.
Here.
Amelia Mano.
Here.
And Mark Grishaber.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Yeah. There is no student spotlight. Announcements, we have 2 LSC parent vacancies that will be coming up as of the last day of school, which is June 22nd. So the terms, those terms will end, and then the new parent reps will be elected. We've received 3 applications, and those applications have been shared with the LSC. A meeting will be called in the near future to have those candidates come out and present to the LSC, and then the LSC will go into a closed session, discuss and vote, and come out of the closed session and announce the parent candidates, which again, there are 2 positions going to be open. Also, the LSC will be presented the whole school safety plan at today's meeting. We discussed it at the safety meeting earlier today, and the LSC has received hard copies, and also it was emailed to all of us. And then it will be voted on another day. So watch the social media and email for those details. Okay, we need to approve today's agenda. Can I get a motion to approve today's agenda?
This is Anita, and I'm gonna motion to approve the agenda.
Anita is motioning, second.
Check on the motion.
Hold on,
Can you change the SRO discussion to say school safety plan?
sure. I'm gonna change, I'm gonna change the wording of the agenda to say whole school safety plan instead of SRO. So it's more clear. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Julieta Pasco accepts.
Okay, Julieta
I'll second it,
and
Maria.
Maria, great. Roll call vote on approving the agenda as amended.
Anita Bernacki.
Yes.
Mary Kay Cobb.
Yes.
Julieta Pasco.
Yes.
Chrissy Estrada.
Yes.
Kathy Fern.
Yes,
Monica Moore.
Yes.
Thank you, Monica. Chris Raguso.
Hi.
Laura Keeling, yes. Maria McDormand.
Yes.
Bridget Doherty Trebbing.
Yes.
Scott Plensner.
Yes.
Amelia Mano.
Yes.
And Mark Grishaber.
Yes.
Great.
So approved.
okay, next we have the minutes from May 11th, the last meeting. Sorry, they were shared with you so late. You want to take a minute to look at them? They were emailed to you earlier today. Is there any addendums, changes, errors that you see?
Chris Ragusa, I make a motion to approve the May 11th minutes.
Okay, Ms. Ragusa is making a motion to approve the May 11th minutes. Can I get a second?
Second,
I'll
this is
second
Bridget.
Okay, I'll be quicker on the draw. Okay, roll call to approve the May 11th minutes as is.
Anita Bernacki,
Yes.
Mary Kay Cobb,
Yes.
Julieta Pasco,
Yes.
Chrissy Estrada,
Yes.
Kathy Fern,
Yes.
Monica Moore,
Yes.
Chris Raguso,
Aye.
Laura Keeling, yes. Maria McDormand,
Yes.
Bridget Doherty Trubbing,
Yes.
Scott Plensner,
Yes.
Amelia Mano,
Yes.
and Mark Haber.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you,
approved.
everybody. All right, next we're going to have a presentation by counseling from Mr. Nicholas. Nicholas, I guess, am I saying it correctly?
Nicholas is just fine.
Okay,
All right.
do you want to
So,
share your screen?
Sure, I will. It's my first screen sharing on Zoom, so. Host to Zoom. Okay.
Do you know how to share?
It's saying host disabled participant screen sharing.
I'm actually changing it right now. Hang on.
Okay,
It defaults to just nobody to be able to share, so. Okay, all right, try it now.
there we go.
All right, got it.
Good. All right, so my name is James Nicholas. I am Director of Counseling for the last couple of years, and I was asked to do a little presentation about kind of what we're doing here in the counseling department, and then I'll, take some questioning or recommendations that you guys have. So let me just get right to it. All right, so I'm going to first kind of introduce the team. I will give the general organization, how we have campus assignments, a little bit about our caseloads. I'll do a review of the past school year 2019-2020, a little bit about the present year, and then looking at the future steps, which is next year. So basically breaking down into two campuses, we have the varsity campus, and there are 8 counselors plus a college and career coach, Miss Aragon. So we are kind of broken down as we all have a mix of various years, sophomore, junior, and senior, and we follow those sophomores through the senior year. But then we're also all specializing in specific grade levels where we do push-ins, tier 1 push-ins into those classes, which I'll explain later. So for example, Miss Adler has sophomores, junior, and senior homerooms, but she focuses when she does her push-ins and discussions on the 10th grade, along with Mr. Duarte and Mr. Howe. Myself, Miss Hutton, we do the juniors, and Miss Fernandez, Miss Gallagher, and Miss Laporte do seniors. Mr. Kuzma is the assistant principal, pretty much in charge of us at the varsity campus. And then over at the freshman academy, we have 3 counselors, and they also do push-ins at various levels, and they also are participating in what the house meetings. So Mr. Mishka has strictly 9th graders, Ms. Devine has 7th and 9th, and Ms. Soger is 8th and 9th, and Mr. Glowatz is the assistant principal, kind of oversees things at freshman academy. So what we're trying to do is do like a kind of a one-stop shop organization for counselors. What we've created through the department and through our assistant principals is basically a spreadsheet that links to Aspen and links to the various websites that we use, Naviance, for example. And we can get all data we possibly want to target students. So for example, we'll have students' names, their emails, their point of contact phone numbers, We know students, classes that they need, classes, how many classes they failed, people who need service for SEL. It goes on and on. We can filter and divide it per counselor however we like. We can look at which students have not completed FAFSA, which students have not completed Learn, Plan, Succeed. I know maybe a lot of these terms are just flying through your ears, but I'll get into a little more detail on some of them. But anyway, we use these spreadsheets to really target what we do, to make it systematic and very data-driven. We're also developing a more counselor-friendly one-pager reference sheet, trying to get that for everybody else to use within the school system. We're also starting to develop a Taft Counselor internet website, which we began and we're still working on, which would be more for internal use, where we could keep all our information on a website for easy access for the counselors. All right, so our goals for the last 2 years and will be next year are tier supports. Tier 1 was our first one, which we started last year. And that basically is a way to target all students at all grade levels throughout the school. Tier 2 are more group oriented and specific to various needs. And tier 3 is intensive supports and it's individualized. So I'm going to explain what each of those are next here. So for example, tier 1 push-in classroom visits. We have a list of departments and teachers in those departments that we work with. So I'll use myself for an example. Myself and Ms. Hutton work with junior individuals and societies department. And we have specific junior level teachers that we've been working with now for 2 years. And we go into those classrooms between 6 to 8 times throughout the school year and target various areas that we feel juniors need. Now, some of these are department-based ideas and others are strictly from CPS that tells us goals that we have to achieve. So for example, juniors, we need to start looking at career paths, what would be good, how to make a good fit for college, to do an estimate of what a college cost would be for their family. So every grade level has various tiers and we target the instruction towards that. That is where we get the scope and sequence. So that kind of informs what we are doing in those classrooms. And we kind of do a backwards planning for this. So we look at what is the result we're looking for. So for example, we want students to be able to choose favorite a half a dozen colleges that seem like a good match for them. We want to have some kind of evidence that shows this, and then we want to come up with the best way to instruct the students on how to do that when we go into those classrooms. If we're in person, we go into the classroom and do this. Virtually, we've been doing it as we are having this meeting right here. There's deadlines for all these targets and visits. We do have tier 2 to try and scoop up people who are absent or miss things. And we're trying to hit as many students as possible. This is trying to get pretty much the whole building. So tier 2 are more focused, small group supports. This is what we implemented this year. We've been doing it in the past, but we wanted to do it very systematically. We wanted every counselor to run some sort of tier 2 support group and be very consistent in our times, be very proactive. We all had things that we thought we were, I don't want to say specialized in, that's a good word for it. So we all kind of chose what we thought would be good for a good fit for us. And then we kind of broke it down, did an assessment of students actually in the school, looked at what they needed, and then came up with our groups. So just for an example, we tried to tie in as many people as we can in this, also case managers, service providers, teachers. And we wanted to try and have a diverse offering where it's not just academics, but also SEL, college and career. I mean, those are basically the 3 main themes of counseling, which is academics, SEL, and college and career, post-secondary. And we looked at things such as a group for anxiety or depression, a girls group, a boys group, possibly first generation college students, non-traditional post-secondary pathways, which could be career, military, or gap year, and Latinx male affinity group. So going back to a year previously, we've were able to add another counseling position, thanks to the administration. We also were introduced to the new CPS requirement of Learn, Plan, Succeed, which was then followed by FAFSA this year. These are graduation requirements, non-credit requirements that students have to do to get that date on their diploma. We emphasized delivering high quality tier 1 last year to all the students. And the whole idea was to just try and be a good support for the whole school. Current year, we continued with the tier 1 supports, trying to even target more. You know, while 100% would be great, it's always not feasible. Some people are out of school, some people are absent. So we just want to keep trying to ramp that up as much as possible. Also trying to get more and more students to apply to college and university. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to apply to a college for a degree. There's many certificate programs for those who are not degree oriented. We're trying to also target tier 2 services this year, which being remote, thought we were very successful. We had groups, grief groups, anxiety groups, first generation college groups, girls groups. So we did have a lot of groups running throughout the year. The key this year we talked about was with remote learning, having some kind of social emotional activity before we did any push-in. And we used the new platforms on Google to do some of those things, some kind of forums, jam boards. And we also did a lot of virtual college visits, which were basically run by our college and career coach, Miss Aragon, and she did a great job. So that was this year. And going into the future, what are we looking at? Well, it's been an extraordinary year and a half approximately. What we want to do is just target our first tier 1 all school push-in and kind of look at SEL. We kind of want to look at social and emotional and not look at so much the CPS targets as our first meeting with students, and introduce ourselves and kind of get a school-wide needs assessment right away out to students to see what they really need from us. We want to be very data informed with these in-person check-ins for students who had a difficult time, and we can do that by looking at who had big drops in GPA or attendance this year. We can add that to our counseling spreadsheet so we know exactly who to target starting next year. The needs assessment will help. And then the collaboration with the house system, the 7th through 10th grade, they also can target specific students who they think will need a lot of support. We're also looking to get a good systematic approach to our tier 3 supports. And we're thinking about getting people to do training that would be very specific to them, what they would like to get better at. And they could be like that target counselor for, let's say, someone who would be great with grief, or someone who would be great with anxiety specifically, or maybe someone who's thinking about the military, someone who has a good background in military jobs and military supports, and how to contact recruiters and what jobs are out there for them. We're also looking at, we are implementing a senior seminar, not we, but the school is, which we think is going to be a great tie-in to counseling. This will completely help us the first semester, getting students on track for completing FAFSA, being on track for their Learn, Plan, Succeed, getting those Naviance tasks complete. We have a summer transition team who is there to help during the summer any students who are in need of support, not just in the school, but students who have graduated and still need some help. Maybe they're struggling or something fell through for financially and they need to switch colleges, so to be that support team for them. And we have established some new partnerships with a few groups this year that reached out, and we have approximately 12 to 24 students who are being helped by those groups. So that is my quick presentation. That is our team. I will answer any questions or take some suggestions that you may have right now. If I can figure out, let me stop sharing and yeah, there we go.
Are there any members? Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Are there any members of the LSC who have any follow-up questions?
I do.
Okay,
Hi,
can
Mr.
you come up here? I think, because
I
it's not
think,
gonna.
can you hear me, Mr. Nicholas?
I can hear you.
Yeah, most people can. It's Chris Russo. Just some quick questions. So love that we capture, college. That's great. But not all of our kids are meant to go to college. Do we capture like those that are going into the trade school or military? Because that's just as noteworthy as capturing the data on our college kids. And I certainly don't want them to feel like they're not having an accomplishment after leaving high school.
Right, yeah, 100%. We get a couple of supports for, let me just go to the military. Besides the ROTC team and Mr. Howe, who's pretty much the lead counselor with that. I get a lot of people coming to me because I myself was in the military, so I've gone that route. So anybody who usually has questions or they have a student who has questions, I'm kind of like, I don't know, the go-to person for that. So we
No,
do
but
have-
in your report, you just captured 90% college, whatever. So what happened with the 10%? What are they doing?
So the other group would be either work, jobs, or military.
Okay, I think that's important just to report as well, because that's 10% of our population that we need to, make sure that they're on track to do something with their lives.
For sure. I completely.
And I imagine CPS has crazy reporting requirements for you, but I think for us, we have such a diverse population here that we got to count everybody.
Right, so we do
That's
have.
just my.
We do have ways to record who is going that route, so we do contact, we do have contacts with those people. We also do have some career people who visit the school. So I think definitely in the future, like we've had before, a college and career fair, and once we'll be back in person, just to take note of what you're saying, we can definitely strengthen our career, contacts.
Right, because I'm sure the trades would love to, sink their teeth into our kids too. It's a good path for
They
them to go.
definitely would. And we do get information from them.
Awesome. So I love that you have a plan for this fall. Thank God we're going to be back 5 days. It's a beautiful thing. My kid's one of the kids that her grades were absolutely pathetic. She went from being an A honor student freshman year to sophomore year. We're fighting to get her out of D's. So can you expand a little bit more? I think that was one of the items that you said you're going to do a kind of quick and dirty on for the kids whose attendance dropped and whose grades dropped. So what would be the path for her? I mean, because her grades clearly dropped. And she's not alone, because I've seen her friends' grades as well.
Right, so, I mean, I'm not gonna say right now what exactly we're going to do, but I can tell you what we're gonna talk about to have a plan for. So we will have a list of people who did have a drop in grades, drop in attendance, based on the data we collected at the end of the school year. We'll have our counseling meetings. We'll see who those students are assigned to which counselor. And we can do one of many things. We're going to do push-ins into the classroom. We could also have tier 2 groups where we meet with those students as a counseling team. We could have one-on-ones with those students, small group sessions. We can have, check-ins every 5 weeks. We can, it's open to us. We just know that we have that information, and we will be definitely over the summer planning strategies to address that, because too many people fell through and had a hard time, and we don't want to see them suffer right at the beginning. So we want to target that right away. That's like priority number 1.
Okay. That's terrific. And then my last question is, in your opinion, are you confident that we're ably staffed to address our gen ed students?
Ably staffed faculty, counseling, what are we talking about here?
Do we have the resources to, I know we have so many, again, because we have an incredibly diverse population, which is terrific. Sometimes the gen ed kids, it's like that, left by the wayside. Or do you feel that way, or do you feel that we're poised with the resources that we have to address our gen ed kids?
No, I feel like as a counseling team, we're doing a great job with the gen ed kids. I feel, the higher functioning and the people who need the most support, get that. Oh, where are we at? Someone say something? I missed something. All right. I feel like
No, I think somebody coughed.
we are definitely supporting the gen ed kids. I feel that personally. I have two students who went through who are gen ed kids, and I felt like they were fully supported throughout the school. And, if you want to add more counseling and social workers, I'm all for it, but, it's always a good thing. But I think we're doing an outstanding job. And I think systematically, we're just getting better and better.
Kathy?
No, I appreciate that. I think my question is derived too from, our job as an LSC is to ensure that the resources are being allocated, where they need to be, and that we pivot when we need to. I know we're on the cusp of this crazy coming out of this epidemic, and we don't know what the fall is going to hold for our kids. So just want to make sure you guys are equipped to be able to deal with whatever is going to come your way, which is still an unknown.
I feel very confident about the people I work with that they will definitely step up to the challenge.
Kathy?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the responses.
Could I ask a
Yes,
question?
Julietta.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
The question that I actually is an observation is, your presentation is excellent, but I think that you were very generic in the area of what do you do with the ELs and the ELs with IEPs, how you handle that, and whether or not the IEPs are being delivered, met according to IDEA.
So,
What are you guys doing with the special ed kids?
so we do the same push-ins and tier supports with diverse learners as we do with the whole population in the school. So we have students that go into those classrooms. I go into one myself. My other partner who works juniors goes into other teachers, and we do the same work with the other students that we do with those students. Sometimes it takes a little longer. Sometimes we have to go back a second time. Sometimes we pull them into our office where we have computers to work with them. But we do the exact same work with those students as we do with the general population.
So in essence, what you're saying is you are doing what you can, but you are not following the IEP. I cannot
Mr.
hear you.
Nicholas, you muted yourself.
We have caseworkers that
Well,
identify all the IEPs and 504s and make sure that they're all handled correctly.
Can you guys hear Mr. Grishaber talking?
Yeah, I can hear Mr. B, but the counselor, Mr. Nicholas,
Oh yeah, I'll be glad to answer.
maybe this is not the time for to talk about special ed. Maybe in the near future. I'm personally interested in terms of how we handle the children from 6 to 12, because many of those children we lose them in the process because of the lack of services or the lack of motivation or negligence. But this is something that I am an expert in special education.
Okay.
And that's the area that I'm concerned about.
Okay, so I can either talk from my end right now, or if you want to have another LSC meeting with the special ed department, I'd be glad to come and give you my counseling perspective then. So however you guys want to work this is fine with me.
Yeah, the two together to be that's critical for now and for society, the ELs and the IEPs. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Nicholas, thank you so much for your presentation. If you'd be willing to send your presentation over to the LSC so that we can save it in our files and look at it again, that would be fantastic.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I just make a comment? I'm sorry.
There's a
real
comment.
quick. Can you guys hear me?
Hang on one second. There's a comment in the, yes, we can hear you. Hold on one second. Caseworkers and teachers are responsible for seeing that IEPs are followed. That was from Mr. Flensner. Okay, Monica, go ahead.
Well, I have more of a comment. I just want to say thank you to the counseling team at Taft.
They have been very helpful. My daughter Marissa started in the academic center, and she started out when Mr. Glow was a counselor and Miss Soto, and then now she is actually graduating this year. Last year she was a sophomore during the pandemic, so she did not get any preparation time for being a senior. And the counseling department has been very helpful, from Mr. Kuzma to Miss Adler, everyone that I've spoken with. So I just wanted to just say thank you to you guys, because they have been very helpful during this time where the students are having a very hard time, and they were very helpful. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Hey, thank you, Ms. Moore, and I will tell Ms. Adler because she's a new counselor, and that will make her day.
Yes, she's been very helpful. Mr. Kuzma, he was very helpful because we had a new counselor last year during the pandemic, and so we were kind of just all over the place, and he got everything straight in a matter of a few months. And so now she is preparing to go to college a year early. So I want to just say thank you to you guys. That's it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Monica. Okay, we have a comment from Ms. Bernacki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, Monica. I just want to double check that, so she's graduating this year, so this is the end of your term, or do you have another child?
Yes,
in
this
school?
is the end of my term also, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we didn't realize that. So now we have 3 parent vacancies.
Oh, I thought you guys
Okay.
knew that when you were saying, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Hopefully that'll
thanks.
happen in college too. It'll save you a lot of money. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from any LSC members in the room or online?
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholas.
Thank you.
Mr. Nicholas, I'm gonna give you the email for the Taft LSC. You can forward the presentation to. I'm gonna put it in the comments.
All right.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, going on to reports. But I just want to mention, if you have any, if you'd like to participate during the public portion of the meeting, put your name in the chat and your affiliation, if you're a parent, a student, a teacher, etc. And I'll put you on the list to speak at the end of the meeting. People in the room, if there want to be a public comment, there's a sign-up sheet right there. Okay. And then we will go with Principal Mr. Grishaber, budget first.
Okay. I don't have anything on the budget.
Okay, no budget report. We did have a budget meeting that was first before this meeting. And it was just a very short.
Right, budgets are good. We talked about the SBB budget being almost empty by the end of the year. Our 124 special accounts has about $40,000. It'll roll over, and our internal accounts are healthy. Right now, our seniors are paying their debt. So we're going to see a little bump in it between now and the end of June. Everything's good.
Okay, thank you. And then we have no purchase orders to approve or budget transfers, so we can do the principal report.
Yeah, the yes that I just did up there was the fact that Taft High School just won its first sectional championship in the history of our school. So just beat Whitney Young 5-3.
Wow, that's huge.
That's huge. A sectional championship. We've never won one before. So
Nice.
that's huge.
All right.
So congratulations, team. So let me just start by saying thank you, Jim. Thank you, Dan Kuzma, who also helped. It's also Dan's birthday today. So happy birthday, Dan. Working hard.
Mr. Kuzma.
The way Dan celebrates his birthday is he's only here for 11 hours instead of 12. That's how he celebrates his birthday. A lot of work went into that. I'll tell you one thing about our counselors, though, which was not in that presentation. Excuse my back. I'm gonna talk this way. Is the counselors, what they do that you don't see in that presentation. The times where I see a girl crying in the hallway and I bring her to Mr. Vine's office and say, Karen, do what you do, and they bring them back off the shelf, or the two guy and the girl that are arguing, and we'll bring them in the counseling office, and I said, just do what you do. It's like, I used to hang around with this guy at St. Pat's who was a counselor, and he said, we guide the dance, the guidance counselors, we guide the dance. And so they do so much more than what's in that PowerPoint presentation. And I think we have 11 of the best ones here at Taft. So I'm gonna put that right there. Real quick to answer Ms. Raguso's thing about our 10% that aren't going to college. I'm on the committee for LSC to talk about our SQRP. And one of my big pushes is that you claim that the mission statement of CPS is college and career, yet our SQRP is all about college. There's the career on there, because we are sometimes a career school. We also have an initiative the last couple of years is, if someone's saying, I'm gonna be an electrician, gonna be a plumber, we're like, great, where are you going to college? You know, that's not the ace in the hole where you slam it down and now college is over for you. We always let them know that we want you to take business classes so you can own an electrical firm or own a plumbing firm or be a restaurateur or something. So I want to let you know on that. So again, nice job, Jim Nicholas and Ryan and Dan Kuzma. They've taken that counseling to another level in all of our counselors. We have great counselors here. Let you know also with the lower grades, I'm talking to some college admission reps, they're taking into account this COVID bump that a lot of people are dealing with. So I don't want people to think it's going to be the end of the world. They're also making SATs optional at a lot of universities. In 3 years, every California college will have optional SATs. So that seems to be the way it's going right now, that they understand that one test shouldn't really deter the path for you right now. So an option means you could put it in for the college, but it's not going to count against you if you don't have it. So I think that's important. Alleviate the fear. Real quick, first competency, continue to have our TCT freshman, sophomore weekly houses, interview potential teachers. This is a fun one for next year. We got the initial 275 kids times, you know, it was roughly about $800,000 of funding early this year. So we're able to identify a lot of really good teachers and hire them, where the last couple of years we were borrowing till the beginning of the school year, and then the talent pool clears up. So we're hiring a lot of teachers, but the nice thing we're doing, we've done it in the, we hired a couple of special ed teachers, and we bring the kids in the meeting, and the kids ask the questions. And then when we're all done, we have the kid offer the teacher the job. And the teachers, I think it sends a message like, yes, they do listen to student voice here. It is important. It's not just something we say, but I think that's something that we're going to have going forward. So a lot of great teachers here. We've already hired about 3 or 4. We'll probably hire about 12 before the end of the school year. That's without any retirements. We'll probably have about 5 or 6 retirements from teachers. We have a very low percentage of teachers that leave Taft. But we always have a couple in August. So we'll probably have 5 or 6 of existing teachers that either move or get out of the profession. So we're going to be hiring up. We held our meetings with the Taft Safety Committee. Now we're bi-weekly. That's a good sign for me because it doesn't seem like there's as many problems right now. So we can meet not bi-weekly, but every other week. We've administered 1,200 AP exams. We administered 800 SAT exams to juniors and seniors. Here's a big one. We talk about our EL department. 25 Taft seniors earned the seal of biliteracy this year, 16 in Spanish, 9 in Polish. We only had 9 last year. This year we have 25.
Nice.
And so that means you don't have to take any language in college. So 25 kids in our EL department. Majority of our teachers voted to approve the 21-22 master assessment calendar. They also voted to approve our schedule for next year too. That was good. For Freshman Connection, I told you I've been on that committee for reopening. We advocated for sophomore connection because I have sophomores that are going to come into this building that have never been in this building before unless they were in hybrid learning. So right now we have 602 that are signed up for Freshman Connection, and we have 539 that are signed up for sophomore connection, which is by far more than any other CPS school. A lot of our teachers are going to take advantage of that. We're really looking forward to getting in here and do some social emotional learning. We hired a new head football coach, Mr. Elder. A lot of you know Coach T is moving with his family down to Alabama, down to Foley High School. If we play him in football, we will beat them. I already told him that. But we had a nice little send up for him the other night on Saturday with awards and everything. Coach T will be missed. And I'm not saying he won't be back. He may be back. We had a varsity campus tree walk with Wayne Shimp. alumni, Mr. Morrissey and 4 students, where we walked around around the varsity campus, and he identified the trees, but he was really cool about it because he didn't identify. He would give kids little clues, and he was like a master teacher. So he had the kids guessing what kind of trees, and after a while, as we were walking, they were saying, that's a birch tree, that's an elm tree, that's a maple tree, that's a white maple tree. So it was really nice. I told you my goal is there's 181 indigenous trees in Illinois. I want to get as many as I can on both campuses, but we're trying to facilitate an English tree walk. And what that is we want to have a path around the school to when you walk, you can actually see individual trees that are prevalent in English books. So you can walk by and say, this is an apple tree, Wizard of Oz. This was in Wizard of Oz. This was a tree from A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. This one was from To Kill a Mockingbird. You know, so we want to be able to walk and have an English assignment too. What do we have? Taft fishing team, 31st out of 66. We had 2 teams that went down there. Mr. Plenzer was down there with our 2 teams. We're the only CPS team to qualify for state, and we had 2 state qualifiers down there. This will probably come up in sports, but you know, they all deserve an extra little announcement here. 2 city championships in one day. JV girls softball beat Lane, and varsity girls softball beat Whitney Young for the city championship. Then the girls sophomore track, we actually had another one in 24 hours. Girls sophomore track won the city championship, and then girls sophomore won the IHSA regional championship, beating Lane Tech by slaughter rule. And then they just beat Whitney Young tonight for the sectional championship. So that's all huge. What did I do last month? I attended a Gladstone community meeting at Highway House with Alderman Nugent. I also attended a virtual Sauganash community meeting, which I do every year, normally in person, but this one was virtual. I'm also a member of the CPS School Reopening Task Force for extracurriculars. Our dates right now is this Sunday coming up. I can't believe it. The class of 21 graduation at the Rosemont Theater. June 21st, Academic Center graduation on the varsity field. That's right, I said varsity field. And a lot of people are going to say, wait a minute, why isn't the seniors on the varsity field? We can't do it with 750 kids. We can do it with 90 kids and their family, because that meets the parameters for what we can actually put in the stadium. But I don't want the seniors coming. Mr. G, we should have done it there. We couldn't do it there with the numbers, with 750 seniors and their families attending. The numbers we could not match with what's required with the state right now. But our 8th graders are going to be there. Let's see, and then the first day of school, 1 week earlier than last year, is August 30th, which is good. And I've heard some comments out there. I'd like to get it 1 week earlier again, so that by the year after that, maybe 2023, we're all out of here by the first week in June. So that is the principal report. Any questions at all?
Any questions online from members of the?
I'm sorry.
You have to, you have to wait till public participation. Public
I
part.
apologize.
Yeah. Walk back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any comments from the LSC online? Okay. Report. Next is CIWP, Mr. Greenblatt and Ms.
Nothing-
Flores.
nothing tonight.
Ms. Greenblatt and Mr.
No, I told them to
Flores.
take the night off. It's gonna be
Okay,
a
no
packed agenda.
CIWP,
Yeah.
thank you. Committee chair reports, budget, finance, Ms. Estrada. Okay, we did hold a budget meeting that directly preceded this meeting, so you're always invited to attend those meetings where we discuss the budget items at length. Facilities Committee, Ms. Ragusa.
Thanks. The Facilities Committee meeting was held today at 4:30. At the Freshman Academy, we're still working on identifying a source who's going to maintain our field. There's a whole to-do about watering it and making sure it's maintained so that it doesn't get ruined. Mr. Levins is working on that. Ms. Trebbing identified a potential issue with a leak, so we need to follow up with that. And the 3rd floor atrium window, thanks to Mr. Plensner, who identified that needs to be corrected. So working on those 3 items, as well as the infamous pathway to nowhere at this point. So
Any progress on that?
no. So those are the 4 items that we'll be following up over the summer and into beginning our fall campus or fall session. At the varsity campus, the big thing that just happened is we have 8 cooling units on the roof. One of them is out of service right now. So Levins is working feverishly to connect with CPS to have them come out, and all of our units are out of life. So it's, you know, a matter of time, but this one went down today. So that's the big news here. Otherwise, the last of the parking lots getting repaired once the teachers are officially done. So there's no confusion there. That's the North Pot lot. And our big capital projects plan, the Eagles Nest concession at the field, as well as looking for naming rights, the Chuck Dobrat Stadium. Coach from the 60s here, again, looking to get naming rights. The plans are already drawn. We just need to go secure the money. The downstairs locker room, we have plans drawn, need to go out and market that and see if we can get funding for that. And then our Jim Jacobs Theater, where the library used to be, it's still there, but it's our media center now. That's a work in progress. At the very least, come fall, we'll put the tables and chairs back in so the kids have somewhere to go and hang out and study and decompress for a minute. That is it for facilities. Any questions?
Any questions online from the LSC for facilities?
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay. Safety and security. Ms. Dorman, and then McDermott, and we'll do the safety plan now. Mark, you want to do it towards the end? Or?
I can do it now.
Go ahead and do your thing first. Yeah.
Okay. We met today, safety and security at 3:10. Some updates on security. We have one security guard leaving, and we have hired one new security now, although she cannot start till August, and we are hopefully hiring 3 new security guards, but then they cannot start till August. Some physical safety updates. The kids have been doing several drills. CPS wanted them to cram a bunch of drills from all year into a few months. So they've done a lockdown drill, a second fire drill in May. They've done a bus evacuation, and they have to do a 3rd fire drill and a shelter in place left before school gets out. Unit misconducts, nothing's changed. Everything's just the same, considering the kids are not in school. We talked about the whole school safety plan. The Tidman held a meeting, invited about 32 people. There was about 7 of us that attended. At that meeting, there were questions about safety, physical, emotional. We had opened up the survey that we took while we were there. The survey that was given to, what was put out in public also, in a sense to the students and parents, there were about 433 respondents. The majority voted to retain all 4 SROs, and the whole school safety plan, which Mr. Grishaber will speak about after I'm done. The recommendation was to retain all 4. They've already posted to hire a new social worker and security guard. Mr. G is going to bring another social worker to work with all our students. Besides, we have over 500 students with IEPs in 504, and right now we have 2.4 social workers. So the next social worker will be working with the regular Gen Ed students, since we have the other ones working with IEPs in 504, and that was our report.
Okay. Any questions from the LSC, either in the room or online, for the safety report? Okay, Mr. Grishaber will go ahead and present the whole school safety plan. And everybody on the LSC should have gotten a copy of it yesterday, and people in the room got hard copies also, the LSC.
So before I go on, I misspoke about the sectional. We didn't win the sectional. We're in the sectional now versus Maine South.
Okay.
We already beat, but this win over Whitney, we've never gotten this far before. So it still is huge.
Awesome.
I had one more thing on the bottom of my principal report, and I'll just say it. I don't know if anything is going to be said at the end of the meeting, but my extreme gratitude goes out to Miss Fern, Miss Moore, and Miss Estrada. You've been on this LSC for a number of years now, and I think we're a better school because of your voice on it and your guidance on that. So I just wanted to speak now and just let you know. I'm sure people will say at the end of the meeting too, but I'm gonna miss you. I really will.
Thank you.
So, okay, so the whole school safety. What?
Do you want to pull any of this up on the screen?
No, I think everybody has a copy of it. I'll
Okay.
go over the highlights. So everybody has a copy of this in their folder right now. It's called the Chicago Public Schools Whole Safety Plan. This is what
No, I don't have it.
It was emailed to you, Julietta.
Yeah, no, I went to test earlier, but I was unable to get it.
Okay, I have your folder here, Juliet. I'll put it in the mailbox, in your mailbox in the varsity campus, okay? But I'm gonna go over the highlights of it as we go through. I'm not gonna read all 11 pages, but I'll go over the highlights for you, okay? Because it was a template
Shaking her
that-
head.
that,
This right there when I was saying thank you to the counselors for all their help for, for us. Because I didn't
Where
tell
is she?
them that
She's
this
over there.
is the last meeting.
She's muted.
Okay, so let me go over just the highlights of it. Everybody has a copy of it. They could go through it if they want. The highlights are strategies. I'm on page 3, strategies used for current state assessment. What did you do? I mean, how did you get this data? So we looked at dashboard misconduct reports, attendance, ISS, OSS data, 5 essentials results. We had safety and security meeting discussions, solicited feedback from the whole school safety committee. We also reviewed notes, emails, and transcripts from discussions and communications on safety and SROs. During school year 21, finally, we sent out a survey to all students, staff, parents, and posted for the general community to make a voice heard. Then we have some things that are going well. So we have a supportive school certification from the Office of Social Emotional Learning, lower rates of in-school suspensions and out-of-school suspensions year over year since the implementation of restorative practices. I still think restorative practices is the best thing that's been in education in the last 10 years. It's wonderful. The majority are satisfied, very satisfied with physical safety, emotional safety, and relational safety, according to our survey. Strong counseling department and strong relations with community partners as during the school year 21. We have been able to offer tier 2 and tier 3 supports to upward 200 students referred to the behavioral health team. What areas of improvement? Oh, one more thing, 91% of our students feel safe in their classes, 89% say people at school are friendly to them. Those are always nice. Areas of improvement, we know that when students return, we're gonna need, we're gonna have to keep a pulse on our students when they return. We don't know what that's gonna be like. This is new for everybody, but we understand that, across the nation, if you talk to mental health experts, it's up like 37% of kids being hospitalized. So we understand that there's going to be it's not going to be a normal year starting out. We understand that. 65% of our kids feel safe in the bathrooms, but that means about 1/3 don't. So we need to work on that. 26% of our teachers report students doing off-task things during instructional time. The district average is 17%. I really believe that the fact that we're going to have a Chromebook in every classroom next year and that teachers can control their technology in their classroom, I think that's going to help us. 64% of Taft teachers are concerned with disorder in the hallways. 57% of our teachers are concerned with students being disrespectful to them. Let me move on. I'm going to move to page 6. I'm talking about physical safety. So what are we going to do? So we got to get a decreased sense of disorder in the hallways and increase a higher sense of safety in the bathrooms. Emotional safety, increase SEL, social emotional learning for anybody out there, and mental health services for students. And then relational trust, focus on community relationship building between teachers and students to increase levels of respect. Moving up a little bit. I'm going to go to page 9. It's one that's like landscape. So these are our 3 priorities. So priority number 1 is we're going to increase SEL supports and mental health services for students. Existing strategies, supports are provided, but there's not enough professionals for the large number of students asking for services. And so our new strategies, we are going to hire a new social worker to provide SEL support and do skill building with students. It's already in our budget. I've already allocated it. So right now we're taking resumes out there. We got a lot of strong candidates out there. Increase the number of community partner clinicians working at Taft at some of the hospitals that come in here and help us with group works. And like the last couple of years, we've had anger groups, gender identity groups, divorce groups, grief groups. And so, and we've had about 15 different groups at one time. It really helps our kids. And then animal assisted supports. I kind of like this one. Kat wants to bring dogs in the building. So I'm for it. So, and then we have, let's see, owners. Let's go priority 2, build healthier community relationships between teachers and students to increase levels of respect. So school-wide expectations, some staff trained in restorative practices, discipline in the secondary classroom, professional development related to restorative practices, trauma, community building, classroom management, facility-led lessons, activities and discussions, conflict resolution with students and teachers, revise and reinforce school-wide expectation, encouraging and incorporating student voice, student skill building education. So I believe it's really important. I can't wait personally for the kids to come back, because that first like 3 weeks of school, I meet with every one of the students. We meet in groups of like 50 to 90. And we talk about expectations. I have my assistant principals talk and the CAP talks. This year, we're going to have our SROs talk. So the kids understand what expectations are day one. And I think that's crucial. Priority 3, decrease sense of disorder in the hallways and increase a higher sense of safety in the bathrooms. Security walks the hallways, too many halls, too many halls and students in the halls. I don't know what that's about. Not enough adults in the hallways. So additional security, one at the varsity campus to monitor hallways and bathrooms. We're also coming up with strategies that when the bell rings, that certain security guards will go by the hotspot bathrooms that kids can sometimes hang out. We understand that then they text everybody and say, go to this bathroom, go to this bathroom, but hopefully we can stay one step ahead. Next page, page 11. So our recommendations for the SRO is we recommend that our school retain all 4 SROs and supplement with the above strategies at the whole school safety. So how did we come up with that? I put a bunch of stuff in your folders, but the one I'm looking at right now is all the graphs like this. So if I can go over the graphs real quick, because this really told us a lot. What's amazing to me is that I'm looking at the green bars right now, because the green bars are like people that are not satisfied, because the other 3 bars are somewhat satisfied, satisfied, very satisfied. So if I went to dinner, I would like any of those, okay? I would not want not satisfied. So I'm really looking at the green. And if you look at this between community is the highest of not satisfied. So that's okay. I mean, I understand it's their point of view. They're not in the building. Okay, I understand that. I still value their opinions, but it's amazing when I looked at the comments and stuff, some of the comments like, that's not it. We don't have that. But it's still the perception, I think, of the old Taft that goes on in our building. Teachers, I'm looking at the green. Those are lower. They're in the building. I feel good about that. I feel really good about the students, which is the really lowest as far as not satisfied. Okay, so those are the 2 that I weigh them all equally, but I kind of like the fact that the 2 studs that are in the building every day have the lowest of not satisfied. And then we have parent survey, which is about a little bit higher than the students in the safety, but not as high as the community. So how did we come up with the retain all 4 security officers? This is the easiest decision I think I've ever made at Taft, is when you look at this page right here, what it looks like, you know, DeKalb, Normal, Rockford, and then there's Chicago with the big buildings over here. Everybody is, whether it's teachers, students, parents, community, all voted to retain all 4 the most. The closest was the teachers, which was a little bit, which was the closest, but they still voted to retain all 4. I think when I looked at the responses for the teachers, a lot of them were saying, yeah, but get that money and then buy social workers with it, okay? What people need to understand is that would be good, but it's only 1 year. We're not getting that. The only thing I've been promised is that it's for 1 year only, Mark. It's not a rollover year. They're not promising every year. They're not promising, we'll think about it. I've been promised it's a 1 year deal. So I think the fact that we are buying a social worker this year, I think that number would have been a little bit lower had teachers known that. But again, not knowing that, they still voted that would like all 4 SROs. The other one, which is kind of telling right now, is all the other 4, I have 4 responses on here. So I put the responses of get rid of 4, get rid of 3, get rid of 2, or retain. And you can see, except for the teachers, all of the other ones are by far retain all, far higher than all the other 3 combined. Okay, so that's why to me it was a slam dunk to retain all 4 SROs. I understand And when I looked at the comments here, I think kids feel safer when we have all 4 SROs. On a personal note, if I'm just gonna add it right now, I'm just gonna say my personal thing on it. I think we have 4 great SROs in this building. I've seen them one-on-one with kids. If at any time, any of our SROs were to disrespect or say anything bad to our kids or make them feel bad, I would go to Officer Begane at the 16th district personally that day and say, get rid of this officer out of my building today. Okay, I don't have that. We have 2 great officers. This is just my opinion. We all have opinions in here. My opinion on SROs in the building is, like a teacher told me today, he said, Mark, if there was a meeting of 4,000 people anywhere on the Northwest side, you'd know there'd be police officers there. And so I took that to heart. But also, here's what I believe. I believe everybody can agree with that, okay? And I think to solve that black eye is to not eliminate police officers. I think it's to keep them here, train them here, and teach the next generation that police officers, the ones that I met at Taft, were really cool. And I like them. And I think that slowly we can build that into society where a lot of our kids can understand that police officers are really good people, because that's really what I think they're here for, is PR for the police department. But it does help that we have 2 armed officers at both campuses, just in case something happens. I mean, I have insurance on my house. I don't think my house is going to burn down, but I still have insurance. And to me, it's insurance in police officers in this neighborhood. I think it's very important. So that's my emotional plea, but I'm backing it up with the data right here. It seems like everybody else seems to agree with me. So I will leave it right there. Those are our recommendations for the school safety plan. I will field any questions now, I suppose.
Any
Okay.
questions online from the LSC, or any questions in the room from the LSC?
I don't have a question. The data is pretty straightforward on this, but this is the whole safety plan. We have to keep that in mind. This isn't just about the SROs.
Yeah.
I have a concern about, it says 50, again, always angling for our teachers. It says 57% of teachers are concerned with students being disrespectful to them across. And we're higher than the district. And in our, and I don't know if Kat's on, because I imagine she had a heavy hand in offering this. The relational trust priority, focus on community relationship building between teachers and students. Where are the parents in all this? Like, when do parents actually take responsibility for their kids? Shouldn't that be part of the safety plan?
Yes, absolutely.
It's just a comment. It's really frustrating. I think, every kid's perfect and nobody can do anything wrong, but our teachers clearly have an issue with this. And at what point do we as an organization say, hey, parents, and I know their kid is perfect and they would never do anything disrespectful, but what do we do to address that? I mean, this is concerning to me. It's just a comment. I don't know how you fix it, because parents need to get involved and parent their children, but it's just sad that our teachers don't get the respect in class that they should have. No, just a comment.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Anita?
I propose that we have a meeting to discuss the whole school safety plan and a vote on it a week from today, which is Tuesdays are our regular meeting days. I think that it doesn't have to be a week from today, but it needs to be done next week at some point. So either chair can call it or 4 people can call a special meeting. I just think that we need to talk about this and vote and get it done.
I don't feel I need a discussion. I feel like I've read the data.
Yep.
I have done my research. I have been doing this for a long time. I see what our school officials are presenting out to us and the people that I'm trusting to do this. And I would vote today. If, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I feel. So however you need to feel that you need a discussion.
Okay.
Fine, but
I just put it out there because if people
I
want
agree
to.
with Chrissy. I mean, it's plain, it's right here. This is the recommendation he gave
I'm not
us.
sure you need a discussion. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
No,
what-
I'm saying,
like, what do you
we've
need
seen it
a
all, we've
discussion or
seen the
vote?
data.
Right, that's
How much
fine.
more we can see,
That's fine.
like, pretty plain and simple to me.
That's fine. Like I said, we have to have a meeting. In order to vote on this, if we're going to accept the whole school safety plan. And then now that we know that we have 3 parent vacancies, we need to fill those, I believe, as soon as we can, which would be the day after your kids graduate. So that would be,
No, day after the last day of school, so the 23rd.
They graduate the 13th.
Yes, the 22nd.
Yeah,
The
our
22nd.
last day on the committee is the 22nd, so you
Right,
guys
so
can
the
do it on the
23rd,
23rd.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did I say something?
You said the last day of
Graduation.
graduation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. So the day after the last day of school, which is the 23rd. So now it's kind of, I mean, I still want to meet these people and we could do this virtually too, but now that we need 3 parents, we don't have to vote.
So getting back to that, I think that you still have to formally do the voting and
I believe so
everything,
too.
right? We'll
Yeah,
have to check on
that's
that,
fine.
right?
Right, but
Um,
now it's not even, I mean, closed session's gonna be a minute and come out. So
Right.
this gives us opportunity.
I had,
So-
I had emailed everybody a suggested time frame just because it was coming up. It's not gonna be under my decision because I will be gone. So you guys can, decide how you want to do this, but I had suggested July 1st because then you could include the new people on the council and have their vote included. So, we can maybe do a show of hands or do a roll call if someone wants to make a motion or just wanted
We
to
just have to- we
an
just have to have
informal
4 people
poll,
to have-
maybe,
yeah, 4
what
people
everybody
to
wants to
have a
do, and
meeting.
maybe we don't even have to decide right now. Maybe we can just,
But keep in mind, these new people are gonna come in
Right.
and you are gonna say, approve this today. I wouldn't approve that on your. new
well, they can have it
application. You know what I
before
mean? Like,
they actually have
that's a
to,
lot, Pat.
they can have it ahead of time to look at it.
They can't have it until after, I don't know, but I don't think they can have it until after they're on the board unless it's, oh, it's there for everybody to see. But what I'm saying is, to me, I just feel like the current LSC has been through this. The current LSC has been in the building and has been here for quite a long time. And we also know what we discussed the last time we had a vote, meaning that we wanted to get more kids' input with the SROs in the building is part of the safety plan. And we don't have SROs in the building now, and it's been pandemic. I just believe that that's part of the reason why people were answering the way they were too in the survey. And it's been a crazy year. And it's going to be a crazy summer, and things are unsettled all around us.
Okay, any LSC members? Mr. Flenster would like to speak.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Flenster.
I think it's probably wise to have new members to have new members of the LSC to have a say in this, considering the fact that their students will be at this school a little longer than some of the current members. It's just a procedural issue, and I think it's a more democratic approach to this particular school safety plan issue. My opinion. Thank you.
Okay. Bridget?
I just wanted to second what Mr. Plensner said. I think Ms. Fern to the other LSC members laid out a really reasonable, good plan for us already and set a tentative date for a meeting. So I agree. I think it would be more democratic to wait for our new parent members.
Okay. How about anybody else on the LSC online? Want to weigh in, Ms. Keeling?
I personally, no offense to anyone, but my personal opinion would be to vote next week or prior to the new people coming on, only because of the history and the amount of SRO discussions we've had in the past with the current LSC and the larger picture of the multiple years in the past. I know when I first came on the LSC, I was very lost and I didn't quite know what I was doing. And if that were thrown in my lap within the first week, I think I would have jumped ship immediately, but that's my 2 cents.
I'm taking an informal poll, so if everyone can weigh in. Mary Kay, what do you think?
What are the options, Kath? Meet next week?
Meet on June 23rd and vote on the this whole school safety plan.
No, sorry, a week from tonight.
Okay, it either has to be, is the current LSC voting on the school safety plan, or is the new
Okay,
LSC?
that's the
what
question.
we need to decide.
The question is the current LSC voting on the whole school safety plan, or are we waiting until after the new people are on the LSC? So Mary Kay?
Hi, you guys. I know the vote when we did it before was very emotional. There was a lot of input from the community. I got a lot of phone calls. I don't know that it's fair to put that on the new LSC. At the same time, I agree with Mr. Plensner. their kids are going to be living through this. So if I had to vote one way or the other, I think the current LSC. But I'd be okay the other way too. How's
Okay.
that for the fence?
Monica? That's good.
So
Monica?
we're choosing what's easier and not what's more democratic. Is that what's happening
I'm not-
today?
I approved the budget for next school year and
Right.
nobody's had a qualm about that. So, I mean, I
That's
find
a
it a
good
little
point.
offensive that, like, let's follow how we do it. Like, we are making the decisions for the future.
Okay.
Okay. Monica?
For me, it's not because it's easier. It's simply, in my opinion, it's because of the history and how everyone has seen, looked at all the data year after year. That's my personal opinion. But I do get the democratic
Okay.
side of it. I totally do.
And Mr. Plensner, I'm not sure how it's easier. It's just, we're more informed and we have history. And the people coming in don't have the same history and don't know what went on before and continues to go on. So I'm not trying to make things easy. This makes it harder because we have to have more meetings. I'm trying to be, yeah, whatever, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I wouldn't want to throw it on my lip. I was new with Laura, same thing. I wouldn't want to, I mean, even last year it was like getting bombarded with emails to my personal email from people
Mhm.
left and right. I would not want to be new. I was like, why did I do this? This is what's gonna happen. So I would not want that to happen.
Okay.
Are you assuming there's
All right,
going to be
Monica,
some
do you
sort of
want-
controversy?
Yes. Pardon?
Are you assuming there's going to be some sort of controversy or something?
Only based
No,
on
I
the
mean,
previous history.
From the previous history, we had that last year.
Mhm.
I didn't expect to get all these emails, but I was getting bombarded every day with hundreds of emails from people that got our personal emails. So I wouldn't want that to happen to somebody else.
Kat, I don't think that's true. Kat's saying that we
We're-
don't have to
we're
vote
voting
on the whole
That's
plan.
That's what our instructions are, is to vote on the.
Yeah, I
whole
think we are
plan.
voting on the whole
Yeah.
plan.
No.
We have to vote to accept the whole plan, which would include the recommendation on what,
Right.
on you guys to recommend that we keep the SROs. We're voting on the whole plan. I know that is true.
I did have a question on something that was SRO unrelated on the plan as was presented, if that's okay to field, to send
Yeah,
out
go
a
ahead.
question. What does, Mr. Gershaber mentioned SEL support. What would that look like exactly? An SEL support in this case? Because when I hear of SEL, I always think of particular things I do in my classroom. I'm not quite sure what that would look like. That's an important part of the plan, and I want to understand a little bit where we're headed with that. I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I get it. I don't mind that. SEL support, social emotional learning for anybody out there is, I think we could do that with our new social worker. And our new social worker, like I said, we've had up to 15 or 10 or 15 different groups throughout the year, but I think they can have more consistency with those groups if we had somebody here. So we're kind of at the mercy of our outside enterprises, where if we can get them in the building, sometimes they have to go through a procurement process and a background check. And sometimes it can take a long time, and then they pull out. And so there would be consistency of an SEL program that we could have every year, as opposed to something that we're kind of, scraping together at the beginning of every year to see who's in, who's out. Are you still going to be with us this year? Are you not? So I think it would be the consistency of an SEL program that we could monitor year by year. That's what that would be, Scott.
So it'd be more in-house and something, I understand. Thank you for
Yeah.
answering my question.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question regarding this? When this was presented to the network chief, did any feedback come back from?
Is there any
Was
problems
this-
with?
This said,
Yeah.
it's like, she checked off on it.
No, nothing at all.
So they
I
had
mean,
no issues, no
they-
concerns or anything with the safety plan that we presented.
no, and I don't think the network chief wants to even get involved. They want to be,
Okay, so
with
it's-
local
so
schools.
no
For the-
issues with what we
For the
presented.
people online, the question was, the safety plan was presented to the network chief and they signed off on it, that they had no issues with the plan. Okay, Ms. Devine said, counselors and Diana Powitz have run all or most groups these past few years.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so we still didn't hear from a couple other members on the LSC. If you have an opinion on whether we should vote on with the current LSC or wait until the new people are on. Do you want to chime in, or are you undecided? Amelia, Monica, Julietta? Monica,
You
I
wanna
see
do
you
a roll
unmuted yourself,
call?
but I can't. There she is. Go
I,
ahead, Monica.
I think I do agree that because the new parents would have, or the new members would have interest because of the students. However, I also do understand that because of the current group, we've discussed this before, but I would probably gear more toward the new parents just because they have more at stake at this time.
So you're leaning toward waiting until the new people are on the LSE.
I do feel, yeah.
Okay. Julietta, do you have an opinion? You're muted. Hold on. Julietta, you're muted. And she's trying to unmute herself right now. Amelia, do you have anything you want to
Okay,
add?
what I
Yes.
wanted to say, Kathy, is that the one possibility to neutralize everybody's opinion, maybe you agree or disagree with it, is that once you find out who are the new members that have been elected for the following year, get this group of parents and give them some kind of an in-service over this particular issue so that they broaden their perspective, they teach them, and they will know what to expect in the future, because this safety plan is huge. It has a lot of stuff. And sooner or later, they have to learn what they were elected to do. And I think that maybe if you wait with the contingency that they will be pre-trained and we allow them to have the materials to read them, to ask questions before a vote is taken.
I can appreciate what you're saying, but I don't think we have that time because the new members of the LSC can't see the plan until they're actually members of the LSC, and then it's too late for us to vote as the existing LSC. So I appreciate what you're saying, but we sort of have to pick one or the other. Okay, so if you had to pick, would you pick one?
Well, to be very honest with you, I have not read the materials. I communicated with you earlier with the principal that I have serious problems with my computer system, and I would like to read the material very thoroughly before I cast an opinion, a final opinion. But I think that if I do have the materials in my hands and read them, then I will wait rather than take a vote today.
Okay, well, we're not going to vote today, but we're just trying to decide whether or not we wait until the new members are on the thing. So I'm going to put you down for.
You see, I understand what you're saying. I know I understand fully what you're saying, but on the other hand, it's not fair for the new members that they will be involving all these esoteric communications and they don't know what they're talking about. So they need to be trained, and I would rather wait. So my question and my answer for you today is I will not vote in favor of this plan today.
Okay. I'm going to put her as undecided. Amelia, do you have anything you want to add?
I feel like the new members won't fully be able to have a full grasp on the situation, so I don't think that waiting for them to join would be favorable.
Okay, thank you.
Now you all
All
know
right, so it looks like everybody.
the new members will have students at this school. I mean, that's very
Mhm.
informing. I mean, I don't know what other training you would need beside having a student in the school and having that stake. That's what we all have. We all have a stake, and I don't know. I'm sorry. That's just my
Well,
opinion on that. I don't think there's any special training or anything. I don't see the controversy here, in my opinion, but maybe because I wasn't here last time. So maybe it's because I'm a new member.
Thank you.
Yeah, whoever is talking, it's not a
Um,
controversy. It's an issue of clarification and an issue of being able to fully comprehend what this plan is all about. It's not controversial, it's just acquiring the knowledge and to be able to fully comprehend, regardless if you have a child or not, because I don't have a child at Taft, I'm not a community person. So it's just a learning experience more than anything else.
I agree. I think that since we've been discussing this for the past few months, it would be unfair to just thrust the new members into this like so suddenly when we've already been talking about it for a long time. So we've had a longer time to think about it and decide on our thoughts. So I think that we should take a vote beforehand.
Okay, well, majority of the LSC is saying to go ahead and vote on it now as the current LSC. Is everyone okay with that? Because then I'll call a meeting for next week.
Majority of the majority.
Hmm?
There's a majority, so.
Right,
yeah,
that's why I'm asking if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah, we only need 4 people, so it's okay.
I make a motion for a
Well, I
roll
want
call
everybody
vote
to-
so that it's on the minutes.
Okay. Can I get a second to that?
I'll second it.
Okay, Maria's gonna second, so. Mr. Plensner, motion. Maria,
Laura's gonna
okay.
question for you.
So, Mr. Plensner, can you word your motion? And I'll
Yes,
assist you. You
what we're
make a
voting on,
motion
is-
that
the motion is
you would like to official roll call vote
a roll call
on
vote.
having the
in-
current LSC vote on accepting whole school safety plan as presented, or waiting until
accepting.
members are on the.
You can't do that.
No.
You can't have a roll call with. You have to.
No, there are not.
You can't have a roll. You have to have one.
It's a yes or a no.
Yeah, he just wants to do a roll call of who wants to have a.
It's just about a
You have to,
meeting.
like, you have to tell what it is.
Hold on. Everybody, wait, what?
We are going to have an additional meeting. That will be our new business today. We are scheduling an additional meeting, LSC meeting, for next, whatever date we're gonna pick today. Strictly on the agenda, it will say for the purpose of discussing and approving or voting
Yeah.
on the whole school safety plan.
Yeah.
It's just like you would call a special meeting when he calls us for a budget
Right.
answer, strictly like that. We don't need to make a motion here. We don't need to vote on it here. It's
Okay.
strictly off the books. We just need to decide what day
What day.
we can be together.
Okay.
Okay. I
Right,
got
because
you.
the majority of the LSC is leaning toward voting before the new members join the LSC, we're gonna go with that.
So Tracy can't make that
I can't do
Tuesday.
Tuesday. I mean, you could do
We can
whatever.
do
Yeah,
Monday,
we'll figure
Tuesday,
out-
Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll figure out a date
As long as we,
before Chrissy and I are off the board. Okay.
okay, and then I also, which I can do, but I would like to have the parents' replacements the day after you guys are done, so the 23rd.
Mhm,
I just, if we can,
mhm.
if they can make it, so if you can just maybe.
I have some information from them, which days they're not
Yeah,
available,
because
so.
we know we need 3 and we have 3 people,
Okay,
so.
so the first
if we
meeting
can-
is
There's no discussion, there's no, but we want to meet them and whatever, so.
for,
Yeah, we will.
yeah, we should still do the formal
And
thing,
then that way we'll have a full council.
right, when we
And then
start.
when we go
in
in,
July.
so then we can
Mhm.
talk to them and explain from the 1st to the 14th, we gotta do an organizational meeting.
Okay.
And it just kind of gives them a breather. They know they're here.
Parents.
and So, because they don't even know
Let
without
me
3.
clarify this for again.
Okay.
So in addition to our separate meeting to vote on our school safety plan, you will need, and we can implement a future meeting
Right.
that is going to be after the 22nd when Kathy and I and Monica are off.
Yep.
On that meeting, your first business that you need to do
Yep.
is assign your new chairperson, which cannot be your current vice chairperson because she's
Right.
not. So basically, you're immediately gonna need to call a new chairperson because you are vacant. After you select your chairperson to go, because that person's gonna run from June 23rd.
Until the
to July
organizational
1st,
meeting.
or whatever you guys have your
Mhm.
organizational meeting as your
Right.
chair. Then you will go and have the candidate forum, ask them to speak on their thing. Then you will move into a closed session, discuss as the remaining LSC people, pick who you want as your 3 vacancies, come out of closed session, announce who the new vacancies are, and welcome the new members that are on LSC. Then, in addition, all of those new people will need to have an organizational meeting sometime between July 1st and July 14th, where every year you'd have to elect your new chairperson, vice chair, et cetera.
Yep.
Did I explain that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we move on?
Yeah.
We're gonna miss you, Chrissy.
Got it.
Would you read the motion, please?
Okay.
No, we're not motioning, Julia. We're good.
No motion
All
anyway.
right. No, there's no motion.
We have to get back to the report.
Yes, please.
Okay.
That'll be fast.
Okay.
Me too. Where'd my agenda go?
Yeah.
Friends of Taft, Ms. Bernacki.
Okay, Friends of Taft. So this is from Mallory Kelly, the PTSA president. The only update that she has is that she has flowers, tomatoes, and herbs left at her house for purchase from the flower sale. She posted photos on our Facebook page and listed the quantities. People can comment on the Facebook post or email her at this email. It's an even, if you go to the PTSA, her email is there, okay? And that's her report. And then from Ann Lundy, the president of the Alumni Association. This is the final week when Taft Alumni 2021 scholarship applications will be accepted. Please be sure they are submitted no later than Friday, June 11th. They must be sent by email. Applications are on the TAA website. And they're sad to announce the news of Frank Hare, their most senior board member, died in March. Frank was a member of the board for over 25 years before retiring several years ago. He was our regular visitor to Taft to pick up mail and deliver newsletters, so he was a familiar face for Taft staff at the varsity campus. And that is my report.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Projaska, do you have anything you want to add? No. Okay, thank you.
Okay, athletics, Ms. Cobb.
Hi, everyone. So I'm reading a report from Mr. Kessler. Hi. So from Mr. Kessler, our athletic director. So, and Mr. Grishaber mentioned many of these, but the varsity softball team won the IHSA regional championship. The girls varsity and junior varsity softball teams won city championship. Girls sophomore track and field won city. Girls varsity soccer took conference championship. Remnant DJ Ware was named to be 8A All-State football team. And more information on summer sports programming is forthcoming. He says that the Eagle Empire is thriving. Yay, Mr. Kessler. Thank you.
Go Eagles.
Go Eagles. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you. Okay, arts report, Mr. Cohen.
All right, hello. So starting with drama, this year's student-directed festival held at the ultimate meeting of Taft's Drama Club this Thursday. This will be the biggest edition of this event in Taft's history, with 7 students from Mr. Cohen's director class filming their first productions. The festival also features 19 student
Hold on a minute,
actors
Mr. Cohen,
making
hold
their
on.
Taft stage debuts, and 8 seniors taking their final bows. The link to the classroom page will be shared. We'll be sharing that with Mr. Eaton the day of. So hopefully it will go up on the Taft website for anybody who wants to drop in. That's at 3:30 this Thursday. Mr. Natick and his student volunteer co-writers have completed their adaptation of David Oley's 1970s surrealistic sci-fi novella Motorman. Auditions for this world premiere production will take place virtually next week, and Motorman will be the first show of Taft's 21-22 season as we celebrate the return of live in-person theater to Taft. And finally, Taft Theater Arts full 21-22 has been set. We will return to our traditional schedule of 3 main stage productions featuring Mr. Nadig's Motorman in the fall, Mr. Cohen's Winter Play, and a musical in the spring directed by Mr. Wilson and Mr. Plakakis in collaboration with Mr. Harriman, Miss Jados, and Miss Jones. The season will conclude with the Student-Directed One-Act Festival, which will be even bigger than this year's iteration, as over a dozen students are projected to be taking Mr. Cohen's directing class next year. We will have some additional surprises scattered throughout the year in addition to all of this, so please be on the lookout. Over to visual arts. The visual arts department will have an outdoor projection viewing of some of their students' artwork this year. The event will be held at the varsity campus on the lawn off of Natoma on Thursday, June 10th. The projections will begin after sunset around 8:30 p.m. Please bring a blanket and come out and see our students' art. Drawing and painting students have been designing a mural to be painted on the cement wall near the engineer's entrance and visible from 183. Attached to the email, and I sent these along to Ms. Fern, I'm sure that she'd be able to share these, are the mock-ups developed by our guest artist, Sid Smiley. Thanks to both the artist and our teacher, Jenny Trejo, for giving our art students this experience. And finally, the @TaftHSVisArt Instagram, I'll post that in the chat, has a link to a virtual art gallery website featuring artwork by Taft student artists. So come and check out the amazing artwork our students have made this school year. And that concludes the arts report. Go Eagles. Go Eagles.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Was that feed problem happening through the whole meeting?
No, I think
It was only happening when Mary Kay spoke and when Mr. Cohen spoke, and now it's happening because of me. I hear your feed.
Okay. We'll have to work that out next time. All right, PPLC, Mr. DeTrebbing and Mr. Plensner. I'm going to mute us again. Go.
Okay, I will. Some highlights from our PPLC meeting. We met on June 1st after school. We talked about updates on Chromebooks for the next school year. We're really looking forward to that idea of a cart in every classroom and laptops to be made available to students to use at home if they don't have access at home. And we appreciate the LSC support in that. It's going to make a huge difference. Number 2, we revisited recommendations to keep balanced class sizes and to avoid overcrowded classes next school year, a big goal of the LSC and Taft administration. And number 3, we discussed the need for SEL supports next school year. We were planning some professional development. It was a very productive meeting. Go ahead, Bridget.
And also, as we near the end of the school year, we want to say thank you to our students who have continued to work hard and demonstrate a commitment to learning and growth in a changing world. A special thank you to our parents and families for the extra support you have provided during remote and hybrid learning. And thanks to all of our Taft clerks, technology coordinators, lunchroom staff, custodial staff, security, and administration who have kept our buildings running over the past 15 months and helped make our transition to hybrid learning the best it could be. That's it.
Thank you very much. Student report, Miss Mano.
Okay, hi. All right, good evening, everyone. Although school activities have largely drawn to a close, there are still a couple things to report on regarding the student body. On Thursday evening, there will be an outdoor presentation from the visual arts department on the varsity campus to showcase the best of our student work from this year. And if you live nearby, I encourage you to bring a blanket and stop by to support the creative side of all our students. And secondly, seniors are graduating at Rosemont Theater on Sunday. And I congratulate all of you on your success throughout high school. And I wish you the same success throughout your post-secondary careers, no matter what they may be. And finally, as this is our last meeting before summer begins, our last monthly meeting at least, I just wanted to wish everyone, students and staff, a great and restful summer break. And thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Miss Mano. Okay, old business. Do we have any old business? Nope, okay. Any new business? Anybody, any LSC members online? Any old business or any new business?
Well, I think Ms. Mano's graduating, isn't she?
No.
No,
Nope.
not this year?
No.
I am a junior this year, so I'll be graduating next year.
Oh, thank God, we got you for another year.
I was like, oh my God, another surprise.
I was panicking. Okay, never mind, Amelia.
Okay, great.
I was panicking.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
My
old
bad,
business, new
everybody,
business.
sorry.
All right, public participation, again, online, if you wanted to participate, please put your name and your affiliation. And everyone is limited to 2 minutes per person. First up in the room is Pamela Lush. If you can speak out loud from over there.
Sure. My name is Pamela. I actually was initially coming here for one topic, and it's nice to listen to what goes on and to get a different perspective. In listening to the social emotional learning, the SEL, coming from a mom of 3 young men who are heterosexual, who are Christian, who are white. And this is a really unpopular statement right now, and it's a really uncomfortable statement to be made. I feel like the social and emotional learning only is appropriate for minorities, children, and actually, quite honestly, I feel like the statement I'm making is a minority statement. But for me to listen to gender identity conversations as a Christian, to listen to all of the other things that we talk about talking about pronouns and all of these things, I don't agree with it. I don't support it. I don't want it taught in my home. You do you, I'm not against that. But in situations where the children sit in class and these are really inflicted upon the student, I believe the SEL should quantify and it be expanded to children who don't agree with that. I think it's their prerogative. I think we live in a democratic republic to where you do you, and I'm not going to judge you. But I think when I hear it all and I see it all, it makes for a really uncomfortable situation. And it makes for an uncomfortable situation for my boys. I was listening to the police officer conversation and I love that. However, when documents are being disseminated to teachers that talk about CRT, the critical race theory, talk about anti-police, talk about police brutality, what is being spoken about in a forum like this is completely different to what is being discussed in the classroom. And coming from a spouse of a police officer, I think in order to make a change like that, the change needs to be educated within the classroom too. Not all policemen are bad, just like not all doctors are bad, just like not all nurses are bad, just like not all real estate agents are bad. And
Okay,
it's
your time is up. Thank you.
I understand.
Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you.
That
Thank
those
you.
things get taught in the classroom. as
Miss
well.
Lash, your time is up. Thank you.
You don't have to be disrespectful.
I'm not being disrespectful.
That was
I'm just repeating
disrespectful,
myself.
Kathy. I'm actually quite pleased that this is the end of your tenure.
Okay,
Because so
thank
far, several conversations.
Next, we have
here,
Mr. Swaggerty.
rude Coming by you.
Who's next, Kathy?
Mr. Swaggerty?
Hi, how are you? I just want to make mine short and sweet. I'm a graduate of this high school, 1988, and I've learned a lot over the last couple of weeks. As what Mrs. Lesh has said, friends of mine that had kids here regarding some of the curriculum. And I feel as well, I don't have children, I'm 50, right? I'm single. But some of the stuff that you guys are teaching and or will be teaching, I think it's inappropriate. I heard certain items are in the bedroom that should, toys or certain kind of play. That is not something I believe should be taught in a school. And I don't think that when it comes to the police officers, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but when she said that how the parents should be involved when it comes to the teachers thinking that they're being disrespected, the teachers do need, or the parents do need to be involved. with that, because that's the biggest problem, is the parents don't get involved when it comes to certain issues with their kids. My parents were very highly involved here at Taft. Family members have their kids here, and it starts with the home and it starts with the family. And I don't know why everybody's afraid of parents or the kids. The kids need to be remembered. This state, if it says it's posted all over the school, respect, responsibility is all over the school. And haven't heard anything about that when it's coming from the kids. They should be taught this at home, and I know they're not. But I just want to say I'm very disappointed with what I've heard being an alumni here about what's happening. And I've expressed it to friends on social media, and they've also expressed the same thing. So, but that's all I have to say to being an alumni.
Thank you.
Very.
Yep. Next, Mr. Cohen, online.
Yes, thank you. I know I promised 30 seconds max. I'll try to keep to that. So a faculty shout out and a student shout out. A faculty shout out to Ms. Condos. Thank you, Mr. Plesner, for keeping time. To Ms. Condos for keeping all of the IB diploma teachers sane this year as we were dealing with the pandemic and all of the associated challenges that go with that and with the rigor of those classes. She has been an absolute rock star all years, but especially this year. So I just wanted to state that publicly. And then the student shout out is for Hugo Gahant. Hugo has been awarded a full ride to Northwestern University's Summer Debate Institute for each of the next 3 years. So that's renewable. So good for him. There's only 10 of those slots available, I believe, nationwide each year. And he got one of them. So thrilled for him. And if I could, sorry, I know I probably only have about 3 seconds left in that 30, but I just want to speak up and say I believe that all students need social emotional learning. Social emotional learning is not what it's been characterized as. Social emotional learning is about dealing with feelings of anxiety or insecurity or not feeling safe or not feeling secure. And this pandemic especially has made all of us insecure. And some of the SEL-based lessons that I've had this year have been some of the more fruitful discussions that I've had in my career as a teacher. And in those discussions, not once have we mentioned, at least for me, not once have we mentioned policing or gender identity issues, although we could have. But for us, it was simply checking in with each other and taking care of each other. And that's what social emotional learning is taking care of each other. And I think that that's needed. And I just wanted to say that. I know I'm over 30 seconds. Thank you.
Actually, you have 12 more seconds, Mr. Cohen. Thank you. Okay, and finally, we have Shahid Chowdhury, CPS, parent of a CPS student.
Yes, thank you so much, Kathy, for correcting me. My apologies for incorrectly typing that. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I appreciate being involved. I've never been involved. I've been a CPS student. I never went to Taft, but I went through the Chicago public system. And I just want to say that as my children have been going through the Chicago public school system, it has drastically changed since when I was a student. And I'll start with the example of my son, who's a student at Taft right now. He's a junior there. And there was an incident that occurred over an assignment, straight A's, sharp kid, bright kid. And the topic that I want to bring up and broach for you all to identify a call to action is censorship. There's a lot of censorship that goes on in the media, as you all know, and things that are unsurfacing now, as you probably have heard through the news. But regardless, censorship should not occur at the schools. If there's a topic that a student wants to broach on a topic for their assignment, students need to be encouraged and not discouraged to remove the topic just because it doesn't go against the mainstream media. So let me be clear. The students have every right to pick a topic, whether it goes against the narrative, because we should all be able to express how we feel based on our convictions, based on our perceptions, based on our research, based on our values. And teachers in no way have the authority to tell them not to pick a topic just because they don't believe in it. That is bias-based misconduct. and I need to see accountability. And so Mr. Grayshaber already knows about this issue, and he's well aware about the underhanded tactics that was used to try to switch classes of my son just because the teacher didn't appreciate the topic that they were going to discuss for their project. And so I hope this is a call to action to raise awareness that bias-based misbehavior is inappropriate and censorship should not be existed in the education system. There should be no indoctrination.
Thank you,
There should
Mr.
be
Chaudhry. Your
education
time is
free
up.
of bias. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I have those documents if you want to see them, anyone. I received an email with all of those links to the documents that I was referring to. So for anyone in the comments that hadn't seen them.
Julietta, did you want to say something?
Yeah, something, I don't want to be the.
Something, I don't want to be the.
I don't want to be dramatic to the local school council. Or be perceived as a negative or controversial. But my experience is earlier today, going to Taft was not a positive one. I entered the door number 1, and there were some gentlemen that were kind. They questioned me what I was doing at Taft. I told them I was a member of the local school council and I wanted to be there earlier to pick up materials at the office and to speak to one of the teachers. And they told me, no. The local school council meeting is at 6:30. If you want to, you can go to the 3rd floor to room 204 and wait there for the meeting. I didn't say anything. Then I just sat on the side at the entrance on one of the side tables so that I could participate in Chris's meeting at 3:15, and we were unable to access. Then they tried to help me with the computer and we were unable to access. However, my message is the principal is doing a terrific job, but perception is everything. If I am a woman with a lot of experience and I felt this uncomfortable walking into the entrance of number 1, and the individual that was asking my name and to fill in into the computer the information in a not so kind way, I have reported to him that the earlier evening I have done as the instruction was given to me. And he said, no, that doesn't count. You have to do it all over again. And don't move, stand here, stand there. I want to check your temperature, and so on and so forth. So I imagine a parent who is not bilingual entering there into this environment may feel uncomfortable or may feel not welcome. So my personal opinion of going to Taft earlier today is for the principal not to scold or reprimand anybody, but to train them in terms of social skills, dealing with all human beings, regardless of who they are, pink or blue, no matter what language or accent they have. And also, I observed that their attire was not proper. They should wear uniform and they should look professional, even though they are only security people checking the temperature and asking you questions. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to take the temperature. It's okay to keep the distance, but it's not okay to be perceived as being disrespectful. Thank you.
Yes, please. Go ahead, Mr. Grayshaber.
I take that very seriously, Juliet. I'm sorry that you felt that way, but my job is to make sure that that doesn't happen. But what I would like to see if that's a pattern. So I have 5 other LSC members today that walked also in door number 1. And I'd like to know from any of you if you experienced the same thing.
No, ma'am, no, sir.
No, sir.
It's absolutely fine.
Anita?
No, not at all.
Okay, good enough. I just want to see if there was a pattern.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Juliet. Sorry about that.
All right, we are at the end of our meeting.
Motion adjourned?
May I have a motion to
I
adjourn?
make a motion.
Chrissy and Maria. Meeting's adjourned at 8:20.
I'm sorry, Miss
Thank you,
Fern, there was,
everybody.
Ms. Fern, there was someone in the chat for a civics project, a student.
I've already adjourned the meeting. Thank you.
I believe that we should listen to the student. We've got 2 minutes to get the
Thank
student.
you.
Can we just listen to the student, please?
She's the head boss.
Okay. Listen. Every student deserves 2 minutes. We'll just have one more there since it's in there. Who's it from?
Nicholas Rizzi.
Nicholas? Okay, good. Let's see where Nicholas is.
Hello.
We pride ourselves on student voice.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to talk about my civics project, and this is the action component. I wanted to bring this up to the LSC to see how you guys thought of it. And basically I talk about the standards with hybrid learning and how it's affected students. So I'm actually going to present real quick, and then so I'm going to share my screen real quick right here. And then are you able to see my document right now?
Nick, you're not allowed to present. You can just speak. Go ahead. You have 2
Oh,
minutes.
Sorry. So basically, throughout my project, I just mentioned how there's a struggle with students and how they can't really focus with online school, and it's affecting them negatively. And according to sources, 42% of students claim that staying motivated is effective for them. And then what I really get into the students who returned 2 days into school, kind of like the difference here, because a lot of people don't come to school because they're lazy, and there's certain things with school because at school you're actually at school. And I know this is what we sign up for. I'm not saying there's a problem with doing school that way. I'm saying that there's a difference here between like students, for example, like if there's a test or something, students will be going into school to take their test, whereas students online are just sitting at home and probably Googling everything, to be honest here. So I talk about this throughout my report, and I actually did a survey, and out of 20 people, 19 out of 20 claim that they have cheated at least once this year. 16 out of 20 claim that they don't take notes during class. All 20 have said that they have turned in something late at one point this year. 17 out of 20 claim that they start their school day in bed, and 18 out of 20 claim that they do other stuff during class rather than paying attention. And of these 20 people, 12 of them are signed up for hybrid learning, and 2 of those 12 have not even stepped foot in the building yet. And the other 10 have all stayed home at least one day on their scheduled shift. Most importantly, all 20 of them have said that they have hated the school year and called it a waste of time. And I want to bring up this subject just because of the way this has really changed students' perspectives of school. And I just wanted to bring this up to the LSC as to how you guys felt about the situation. I know it was mentioned at various points throughout the meeting. And, I was thinking, like, at the start of next school year, are there ways to kind of acclimate students back into a school setting?